This is the not-so-old Kimberly Page from the old World Championship Wrestling, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right, we are back, and we're joined by DJ Rand of WCW Nitro Days. Welcome to In Your Head.
What's going on, people? The Incredible Jack and 1-inch biceps.
That is me.
That is the name of all time.
If you didn't go with DJ Rand, I believe DJ 1-inch biceps was next on the list.
Actually, I had tried to look that up and properly use it as my moniker, but they said it was taken. So.
Yeah. And you have to pay the big bucks, I think, to get the permission from Intra.
I'm telling you, if you ever find yourself short for money, you can put out the DVD of the 1-inch bicep workout. I'm quite sure people are interested in adding, negative guns. A lot of money to be made.
I think so. Intras have a job right now, so I think that maybe that's the way. Something to look into.
Chapter 1 would be Twinkie eating.
Well, when we asked you to come on, signing the MySpace, and one of the first things you showed us was a clip from ECW, and I think most people just think you were in WCW. They don't realize you were in ECW originally.
Yeah. Pretty much how that went down is I worked at a station in Philly called Power 99 FM, and I was on every day. And on the weekends, I'd do a rap show, well, actually a rap and rock show. And a lot of the wrestlers that stayed in town, they'd be hanging out at clubs that I work at or whatever, so I got to meet a lot of them. And, Conan, Ray, I actually was there, when Chris Jericho first popped up. When I was there, Malenko was still there. Pretty much half of WCW was there, Psychosis, all those cats. But ran into, New Jack and a few of those people, and they started coming up to the station, and I'd interview them on my show. And after a while, we'd be hanging out, and then a couple of record company people would want to go to the local shows because, everybody I knew pretty much were, even in the music business, a lot of us were wrestling fans since kids. Mm-hmm. So, cats from New York or L.A. or whatever, they'd fly in, and I'd always say, I know what you used to see, but you got to go to this bingo hall with me. It's ridiculous. And, I'd have a window of maybe 90 minutes in between my show on the air and actually broadcasting live from a club on the waterfront. So in the in-between time, we just roll down there to the show and check it out. And, of course, after somebody sees one show like that live from ECW, they're hooked. So they wanted to keep coming through all the time. And Tommy Boy ended up doing music licensing to them. We built a little relationship. And then I ended up doing a couple of vignettes. And, it was cool. Got to meet Paulie. And it was cool to know, a lot of the talent that ended up going to other places before they got there. And even, Stone Cold was down there during the time.
Yeah, a lot of guys went through there.
Yeah, pretty much I got to see everybody. And it's just the energy of the show. And then just being from Philly, period, it was pretty much all the dudes I knew grew up. You were into wrestling and roller derby at the time. Right. And our fans are legendary just for being ruthless anyway. So if you can imagine the type people that go to a Flyers deal and then an Eagles deal and then mix that in with wrestling fans, and it morphed into some retardedness that would happen inside that bingo hall. And it was great.
I think people who weren't around at that time to see ECW and just see it now on tape, and you've seen a lot of stuff in the Attitude Era that kind of took from ECW, don't really realize how different it was at that time because no one did anything like that they were doing.
Well, see, this is the thing that used to kind of make me mad because as a fan, even as I got the job, through Turner and doing WCW and all that, it would be funny because I was always around people that would, crap all over ECW. That's not wrestling. That's not this. That's not that. But if you were from Philly at all, even before, that there was any TV going outside of there, you know exactly where all the hardcore matches are coming from, the ladder matches, everybody was starting to use the luchadors and just many ideas being started. The three-way dances, the girls dancing up in the top, that a lot of the storylines, all of that stuff came from there. Then you sit, I would listen.
The signs from the fans, I think.
Oh yeah, and the chants, even the chants.
Yeah.
'Cause even now, when I watch TNA sometimes, it's kind of funny because it feels like somebody coaching them into doing little chants, but they know what they want it to feel like. But if you ever really have been there or watched it, you know it's just like a generic version.
Let's get to the caller. We got Brian Jones here on the line.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
Hey.
I had a question for DJ Ran. When you were working on Nitro, I've read specifically in Chris Jericho's book that Dean Malenko is actually a much funnier guy in real life than his on-air personality would have you believe. Is that really true, or have you not been around the wrestlers enough? I was around pretty much everybody, and he was hysterical. Hey, really?
He was a very funny cat, actually. I mean, it was, he wasn't the one that pulled all the ribs on everybody, but he was very funny. Like, you normally see him, real straight-laced and, just stern, the square jaw and the demeanor, whatever. But no, a lot of jokes. A lot of jokes. I mean, that's the funny thing, as a, that was 4 years out of my life there, so after, the first couple of months, you'll have some people that they just don't talk to you because they're like, what is this dude doing here? And then there was a lot of people that take to you right away, but a lot of them, the talent, you get to know them, they know you after a while, and, just pretty much if you want to see anybody in their natural habitat, you go to catering. And while everybody's eating, that's when they're their normal selves and just regular joke cracking dudes. But Malenko actually was very funny.
Oh, cool. All right, well, I appreciate you taking my call, but thank you very much. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for calling in. Now, when you were in ECW, you said you did some vignettes and stuff. Did they sign you, or did you just go there and do some stuff for them?
Yeah, actually, just the relationship was through, me doing the radio thing and actually Tommy Boy Records. They were licensing music to them. So if you look at, a lot of the older shows at the end when they run credits, it'll be like Tommy Boy. That's actually, a lot of people don't know that's how I ended up going to WCW as well. I didn't even come in initially as a DJ. I got hired to executive produce the soundtrack for them, which was that Mayhem, the music. Mm-hmm. So with my initial purpose for even going was just to, to see a couple of shows, and they wanted me to put together a soundtrack. I was supposed to bring in, Kid Rock, Primer, Metallica, Limp Bizkit, stuff like that. Bring talent to the table, do songs, mix them in the studio, and do add, sound effects and, themes to the CD or whatever that they were putting out. And then there was an idea pitched, which I was like, well, I noticed as going to the shows, and this was really just my great idea, which was if I could ever combine the two things I like to do, which is spin and watch wrestling live, because other than that, I'm going to be on the air with a TV monitor in the studio flipping back and forth between Raw and Nitro anyway. I'm like, well, how about I can get paid to watch this show and still be playing music? So you end up, let me go pitch this. And through the whole soundtrack deal, I had a relationship with them. Next thing you know, I'm sitting at a table with Ted Turner. He's like, how much is this going to cost me? What can you do? And I pretty much told him, which was very true, at the live shows, it's very boring in between matches. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, there's nothing going on. So, I knew that they had the Nitro girls there, but I gave them a video reel of me doing, all kind of other events. And now, pretty much all of different sporting events, they'll use a DJ for football games, baseball, X Games, whatever. Everybody does it now, but the prototype of that, they even were copying that for boxing. I don't know if you ever remember the show HBO had some type of boxing thing or whatever, but everybody started using the DJ for their events. And the thing was, I don't know, as it comes off on TV, might not always come off great, but in the arena, everybody loves it. That's how, I put it to you like this. I was brought in from Ted Turner and under Eric Bischoff. If I sucked, I'd have been gone as soon as he was gone. So for me to be there to the very last day when it went out of business, it was all about, laying it down. Each place we went to, if it was, Iowa, North Dakota, whatever.
Off TV, like, we didn't see on TV, you were still doing the DJ stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the whole way that the show's constructed, going to those live shows, there's that time when everybody's loading up, and before, 8 o'clock when we would go live, it's pretty much like pins are in the ring, announcing matches. The people are sitting there kind of bored, and it's like, what do you do? And then even after the show starts, after there's a match and you go to commercials, sometimes there's 10 minutes, there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
So on ours, we had a combination of sending the girls out to the ring to do their deal and me doing what I'm doing. And it was like a big rock concert, the whole time. So actually, we had a much better live show than probably what WWF was doing at that time. Now, on TV, I couldn't tell you about, I couldn't go match for match.
Right.
But in terms of a live audience, I knew that it was a very viable thing and people would have fun. And at the end, I think what actually kept me there to the very last day too is, without fail, after when the show was tailing out, when people would be leaving, they're bringing their kids over and they're sitting there getting autographs from me or whatever. They're trying to kick people out of the building. They're lining up to you get a bumper sticker from me or get me to sign something or whatever. So they were having fun, and that's what it was all about. It's like even if the matches, sometimes the matches were great, but there was a stretch in time that it started to tail off a little bit.
Right.
But they at least were saying that they were having fun at the live event, so that's what my contribution was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, like, I just went to Raw recently, and you're in between the matches, or like when it goes to commercial on TV, they don't do anything. It's just, they even dim the lights a little bit, and you just kind of sit there.
No, it sucks. And then for a while, they used to just put on a CD and play like jock jams or whatever, but it's totally different where, with us, we'd send a cameraman out, going to different sections, put them on the big screen. I'm doing call and response stuff with them, yelling stuff, dropping records that everybody likes, and it's a combination between you play some stuff that the younger audience there would like, whether it be rock or rap, but I'm definitely giving more respect to the ones that dug in their pockets for the tickets. Right. So it's like, some of the classic rock, some of, stuff that would be more catered to the demo, to the people who actually spent their money to bring the kids. So as long as they're happy and then the young cats are happy too, everything's good.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the Nitro girls. Which one of those would have been your favorite? My favorite was always Spice. That's a hard question, but actually, I have to go with the original. Kimberly's my favorite. Yeah, Kimberly. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, she's favorite, and that's for two reasons. One, like when I first got there, Paige, Dallas Page, he was pretty much one of the first dudes to come up and just kind of be cool and embrace me or whatever, and I actually would ride around with them, because when you first get a gig like that and you're trying to figure out who you hang out with, right. And then there's the whole factor of when you show up, you have to separate yourself from being a fan, because if you act a certain way, then it's like, oh, this Mark, and Mark, everybody's a Mark. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel bad about it, because I know when we'd be places, I'd see the wrestlers see a NFL or NBA guy like, oh, snap, go get my camera. So, it's the same thing. But for me, there's no way for me to, I'll be like in my second or third week, and all of a sudden they have a special match and Snooker's there or something and whatever. And I'm like, oh, snap, that's so-and-so. But you had to, kind of play it cool, so you don't get that bad tag when you got to kind of, try to figure out who should you hang out with. Are you quiet? Do you crack your jokes? Do you sit in the corner? What do you want to do so you don't piss anybody off or whatever? And, you know, Paige knew what it was, so he was like, hey, you know, hang out with us or whatever, until I actually was able to make, you know, friends with everybody else. And the combination of also knowing some of the people before, you know, from ECW, knowing them before they got there, so that was a thing, too. But I couldn't exactly party with all of them because some of them cats is real wild.
Did they tone down at all from, like, their ECW days to their WCW days?
Shit. It's not really. It was outrageous. It's the normal suspects. I will tell you this. That whole party animals thing that came about eventually is really funny because they could have had that tag from ECW. I'm talking about dudes like Juventud, Conan, Ray, like, you know, I mean, when you get to the point where you got people naked running across bars and
right. That time you got caught in Australia, that wasn't like an isolated incident. That was.
What, which one?
Wasn't in Australia Juventud got arrested for running through a hotel naked?
He ran across the bar, but I mean, when it gets to the point where you got people pissing on cops and then, you know, car chases, you know, I mean, I've seen it all, man. But cats have fun, you know, that's what they do. I mean,
right.
I wouldn't exactly run across the bar and piss on the cop, but, you know, hey, if that's what you do for fun, that's what you do.
What would you say, would that be the craziest thing you ever saw?
No. I think crazy in terms of what though? What were we talking about?
Well, something you see, something crazy someone would do in public.
In terms of like one of the wrestlers?
Yeah.
Man, there's so many ridiculous things, but I mean, if you want to just talk about crazy incidents, one of them would be, and this is not a wrestler doing something to somebody, for instance, but one of the things I kind of laugh about a lot, which is only funny because it didn't end in a fatality, would have been one of the Nitros. First of all, you do know that there was pretty much some comedy going on where any time that they would try some kind of extra stunt or any kind of something on a pole match or something, you know, whatever it would be would fall off the pole or some blood supposed to spill on somebody would miss them or whatever the hell. Well, a lot of the stunts would go awry. I know for a fact one time about 10 feet away from me, and you've probably seen this match too, where they had Insane Clown Posse there, and you know, you got dude, I guess he was supposed to get powerbombed on top of this school bus. Looks like that Partridge Family bus or whatever.
It was like Mike Awesome, I think.
Yeah, exactly. But in typical Nitro style, somebody decided that the bus looked kind of dull during the day, so they waxed it up so it would catch the light better. So, and I mean, all I can explain to you is if you're 10 feet away from somebody sliding off of a bus upside down, you know, that was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. And I think it may have been 2 weeks later, they decided to have some tigers on the show for some reason. And I think he was supposed to come out with Rey Mysterio. And when the show started, you know, you set off all the pyro or whatever. It's like boom, 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 blah, 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 all these, you know, big cannon blasts or whatever. The fucking tiger went crazy. So now the tiger's trying to eat Ray. And I mean, but luckily, like I said, it's only funny now because it didn't end in a fatality.
Right.
But you really just don't understand how close it came to being a race net.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I would think if Ray actually got ate by the lion or the tigers, it probably wouldn't have been it probably would take a lot of the humor out of the story.
Yeah, after a while, I kind of expected them to stop doing stunts and stop using animals because the tiger almost got Ray, and I think a few weeks after that, they had a match with like Terry Funk and Dustin, and they were like fighting in a horse stall or something.
Yeah.
And the horse got pissed, and he was like, soon as one of these bastards gets close enough to me, I'm going to kick the head off. And he just missed Terry Funk's head by like 2 inches, and we inside of the arena, we could see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was ridiculous. Because you see the horse buck, and the 2 hoofs, and it just missed. It was like, oh, snap. Yo, dude's head would have came off live on television.
I think, wasn't it Candido in that match?
With that one, I'm pretty much thinking it was Dustin and Terry.
I don't know why, but I remember I think Candido. I think it might have been Candido. I'm not sure though. I remember that incident though.
Yeah. But those would be some of the ridiculous things I think of, with the exception of the very last day. That is, I don't know if this was amusing, but it was more shocking. Like, you're coming out and you're walking around, you're expecting to see what you normally see, and on my setup, I have a TV monitor set up so I can see when we're on air, when we go into commercial, when we're coming back. So I'm going out to do my sound check, and I'm looking at the monitor, and I see The Rock, giving somebody the people's elbow and whatever. Like what the fuck? What's going on? Turn around, here's Shane walking around like, whoa. Some people knew what was going on, and a lot of people didn't, because we had been hearing that it was going to be the last week every week for like a year. Mm-hmm. So, but at that particular time, what
was it like though? I mean, because the WCW is so big, and then ends up being sold to WWE. What was that like, just being there, and the company's going out of business?
I mean, for me, it was a very interesting study in life. Because I had a ball. Like, no matter what was happening, I was determined to have fun every week, because I'm sitting there like, I've watched this stuff on television since I was a child. So, I'm flying around the world now doing these arenas. So, where there's other people that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars and they got a frown on their face all day. Mm-hmm. All day. Just complain. But the thing was, it was kind of one of those, like, every week for months you kept hearing, okay, well, this company's going to buy us, that company's going to buy us, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It got kind of hectic. It got to the point where, when we were doing the two shows, Nitro and Thunder, we started actually taping two shows in the same night. Now, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that really takes the steam out of the fans being there for 4 hours.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me about it. It was like, we're going to knock out both of these shows. And it's funny, because I guess that's what they're doing on Tuesdays now. Doing the SmackDown and ECW thing. Mm-hmm.
And if you're there, it's like, you could tell, I know, obviously no one watches wrestling anymore and thinks that, it's real, but it goes from SmackDown to the ECW taping, and the SmackDown guys are helping to set up, like, the ECW, like the ring itself, putting on the ECW banners.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like, that's so, like, on ECW is like, WWE guys are setting up the ring. I don't know. We got a caller here. Who is this?
This is Golgo.
Oh, Golgo.
Hey. Not much. This is kind of an off-the-wall question. I didn't even realize you were in ECW until, like, last week when the Your Head Crew was hyped up this interview. But I always wondered, how did Paul Lee manage to get I don't know if he ever did, like, how could he use, like, Metallica and, very high-profile bands like that on his show? I know you said they had a deal with Tommy Boy Records, but it just doesn't seem like, a small-budget company like ECW. I always wondered how they could get the rights to those kind of bands, or did they? They just kind of fly under the radar.
I got a very simple answer for you. It's a statement that I always would hear from people, and I adopted it, 10 years into my career, which was, it's always better to, ask for forgiveness after the fact. So pretty much, if you get caught, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to be able to do that. They did it, and even with me, like, for the whole time I was there, like, when I would be on air, I wasn't supposed to be able to play anything that wasn't licensed. And, they would license certain songs, whether it be for Hogan's thing or whatever, like, they've licensed, they pay, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. I would just say, oh, that's something else. Like, I'd fill out the form and just so I could play whatever I wanted to. He was doing the same thing. He was just playing whatever song, people's themes. Like, he was playing the real records. They weren't licensing them. He was just using it. And I guess he figured if somebody comes after me, then I'll, say something. But I know they weren't doing deals with that.
Right.
They definitely weren't.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say when the After hit, it seemed like Metallica really started getting on people's cases, so maybe it's just ECW flew under their radar, because it seems like, Metallica wouldn't hesitate to sue Paul Lee. I just always wondered, because I know when Sting, WCW, they had to pay big bucks just to play that song every time it came out, from what I understand.
Yeah, see, that's the difference, though. WCW, you talking about, like, Turner Broadcast, so they actually have a legal department that's all they do is supposed to keep all of their companies, whether it was WCW or Cartoon Network, keeping them out of trouble. So they would make everybody go through the legal way of doing everything. And ECW, that was the ghetto way of everything. The bingo hall, the lighting, the bleachers, the way they would sell the merchandise. I mean, it was cool because the show, like I said, it's still all of that added to the essence of it. And I think, him using actual real songs like the Sandman coming out to Metallica or Rob Van Dam coming out to Walk or whatever, people pop for the songs just as much as the wrestlers coming out. And even, I'll give you a perfect example, too. When I went to WCW, when we were putting together that soundtrack, I had to work with Jimmy Hart, because Jimmy did most of the music for, like, all the WWF stuff and whatever. So he was in the studio with me. We did a lot of stuff in Tampa, and he was telling me that themes that people would do or that they would have, like, say, DDP liked, like a Nirvana song or something, whatever. They would play something that sounded exactly like it and just change it enough. But really, if somebody wanted to sue them, they could sue them. But, I mean, if you ever noticed, a lot of those themes that you would hear sounded just like some other song that was actually already famous and, but without it being the same song.
So basically what you're saying is Paul Lee kind of got away with it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And if you notice, whenever they went to do like a ECW soundtrack or whatever, that's when they had people cover the songs.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because, like, I remember seeing, like, ICP and House of Pain, like, do their little, commercials. They'd be, like, the only people advertising back when ECW syndicated. So I figured there had to be some kind of agreement there, but,
that was the only stuff, that was the only music that was officially, like the that stuff. Anything else, even like the themes that they were using, stuff from Primer and all that kind of stuff. Now, he was just doing whatever he wanted to do.
Well, I hope Laws isn't listening, because he might still want to lose. So, one more question. I'll take this one off there. I was wondering, for DJ, what was your just of all time, like some of your favorite wrestling themes and theme songs? And I'll take that off the air. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for calling in, man.
No problem.
Did he say favorite themes?
Yeah, favorite wrestling theme songs.
I would definitely, We talking about I guess I should have asked him if the newer ones or older.
I think he probably would just mean, all
around favorite.
Yeah, and probably not ones like where it was just like Enter Sandman, because,
Yeah, because now, I mean, it's kind of funny, like, it's gotten to the point where I have, some people that I may like their theme and their entrance more than I like them and their characters. I had to actually let, it's kind of funny because I talked to like a lot of my guys that are still wrestling fans, and a lot of them like Batista. And me, it's the hip hop background of me, which when you grow up in rap, the first thing that you learn that it's not cool to bite. And biting pretty much is the old school term for copying somebody else's stuff. And when it gets to the point where you would see everybody spearing everybody and everybody jackhammering everybody, and I know what it was. It was kind of, the whole thing of, okay, when you don't like somebody, if you want to bury them, have somebody else do their finish and, all that kind of stuff. But, even the whole Ultimate Warrior shaking the ropes and all that kind of stuff, I'm like,
It's all,
I'm it's so many things that you can come up with on your own. But in terms of when his theme comes on, I pop for that big time.
Yeah,
I actually
live, like his entrance is really energetic, and like the people just go crazy for it.
Yeah, because the guitar riff itself, and even when it comes down to the whole pyro when he was coming out and all that, like I said, I mean that was the whole Goldberg coming out and, you know, the old breathing the smoke thing and the boom, boom, boom. I kind of laughed, too, because I remember at one time when some of the WWF people had come over and they were talking about, see, this is why this show sucks. You guys have way too much pyro. Everybody's got pyro. If you watch them shows now, damn. It's like one explosion after the next. I was kind of laughing. I don't know if it was last week when they had JBL on. It gets to the point where he's got so much pyro that you can't see the next two matches.
I do get a kick out of his stuff because I think it's intentionally so over the top that it's really funny.
No, but see, I'm going to tell you, though, after having been around that pyro and stuff, it's really funny until the kids are throwing up. Like, that smoke is no joke, man. It's like, I mean, besides it being loud, you got to remember, there's no real ventilation in those arenas. Mm-hmm. So that smoke just sits there for like 15 minutes, and you just sitting there breathing it in. You got, you know, little Jerry over there chewing on his hot dog and taking in a mouthful of smoke. Next thing you know, it's not pretty.
I think Golgo might have meant like kind of maybe some of like the Jimmy Hart kind of themes where like people actually had like lyrics.
Oh, well, I mean, one of my favorites of all time would be the Hogan, the I'm a Real American.
Yeah.
Because it was just that triggered so many memories, you know, for me. Just a lot of times, like when they would leave, like that little lull in the action or whatever, like, you know, what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden you hear that hit and everybody just loses it. You know, that probably would be, you know, one of my favorites.
When you were talking about new themes, I was hoping you were going to bring up biscuits and gravy.
No biscuits and gravy. But I will actually say of the new themes too, I love Orton's. As soon as he broke away from Evolution, they came in. It's like very rarely you actually get the lyrics to the song to fit what's supposed to be happening with the character. Mm-hmm. That is great.
When you talk about Goldberg, you talk about the spear, you know, a lot of people like talk bad about Goldberg now, but I mean, he's definitely one of the guys that people copied a lot off of because everyone's doing the spear. You think he doesn't get enough credit?
What I'd like to say is, and this is like, I used to actually sit and talk to him, which I felt kind of privileged because like we were like. A lot of those cats, they just treat you like their buddy, because after a while, you see somebody every week for years. You know, you sit down and you get more than a casual relationship. He would, you know, tell me the stuff that was pissing him off. What I started to notice is, you know, late 90s going into 2000, you know, when everybody started getting on the internet, you have a lot of these people that have the super sheep mentality. So if somebody says, you know, somebody's horrible, and enough people say it, then the sheep just follow behind it and just repeat exactly what you said. Yes, he sucks. He sucks because somebody on the internet says he sucks. No, actually, he didn't suck. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, you have people, you know, you got cats, you know, booking matches in the back, and, you know, after somebody's upset, the way that you can manipulate how people think on the internet now is very easy. You know, this stuff doesn't have to be substantiated. And it got to the point where even that last match with him and Brock Lesnar or whatever, you got people crapping all over. But even the way the match was booked, it's like, it looked like that was booked like that to destroy both of them. Because really, when you watch both of them, you want to see them go at it like bulls. Like I think I was in Buffalo, like a Fall Brawl pay-per-view, and him and Steiner. And people inside that building loved that match because it was having it. Like, you talking about some cats just trying to beat the snot out of each other. It was great. Mm-hmm. And that's what you kind of wanted to see with that. And now all that standoff and dancing around and not doing nothing for 5 minutes, fans shit all over it. Mm-hmm. And rightly so. But somebody booked that, so.
Yeah, I think when he was in WWE, anytime he did anything that was like what people wanted to see from Goldberg, like the time he speared one of like 3-minute warning through the barricade. Like, they just went crazy for that stuff.
Yeah, or even that elimination chamber match. I don't care how much they tried to shit on him. When all I know is this: wrestling, the stuff that happens behind the scenes is real funny, because just like, you know, I won't put any people on blast, but certain announcers and certain wrestlers who used to talk crap about ECW and, you know, oh, high spot, this, no moves, this and that. Or some of those same people work at TNA right now, and you got wrestlers doing all the same moves and the same type of storylines and all that stuff, and now they act like it's the greatest thing. And same thing with, you know, like in the Goldberg situation. For me, as a dude that grew up in the business, you like different types of characters. He was the destruction guy. He's the guy with the physique. I didn't expect for him to be great on the mic. I just wanted him to tear somebody up. That's all I wanted from him.
Right. And all the stuff he did looked good. It wasn't like his stuff looked bad. I mean, when he was hitting the spear or any of those cool moves he did, looked like he's really killing the guy.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the stuff that he did, you know, even though a lot of times people say, you know, they make a character, you know, they can choose who's going to be a star and who's not. The fans don't. You can't cram something down their throat. If they like it genuinely, then that person has some talent. I mean, I look at stuff like Shelton Benjamin and some of these other people. Like, it doesn't make a difference how many times a lot of these guys have talent and somebody pushes them, or even Chuck Palumbo. I see him every week, and I've known him since WCW.
Right.
I don't care how many times he rides down on a motorcycle. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Or whatever those other two dudes, Domino and Deuce and Duck, whatever. It's not going to happen. Like, did we really need the Andrew Dice Clay in a ring? Come on, it's not going to happen. And no matter how much camera time they get, it's not going to happen. But with the Goldberg thing, to me, I mean, his whole gimmick was he was physical. He looked like he's destroying people, and no matter how much they said he was horrible, it's real funny. Next thing I know, Edge is spearing, Rhino's doing a spear, Batista's doing a spear. You got people spearing people in ladder matches, you know, different versions of the jackhammer. You know, so I give him his props.
Jackhammer. I don't think anyone's jackhammer ever got any kind of reaction besides Goldberg's.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I mean, for me, and then there was also another link to that too. When I first saw him, before I do remember seeing his first match, and before I even saw him get in the ring, I went crazy because he looked like Nikita Koloff to me.
Yeah.
And I'm automatically picture. And what I liked about Nikita was him running and giving people the Russian sickle.
Yeah, exactly.
I never expected him to be great on the mic neither.
Yeah.
You know, just look crazy and destroy somebody. So before I even saw a dude get in the ring, I was like, oh snap! If he's even a tenth of what I think he might be, and they delivered it. So you know.
Right. Cheap plug for us next week here on In Your Head. We're actually going to have Nikita Koloff.
Oh, now you know I already knew about that. You know, and Magnum TA. That's very
yeah, exactly. That'll be Magnum's third appearance.
Yeah, that actually was some of my favorite wrestling back in the day too.
Mine too. Yeah, the whole Crockett era, the NWA. To me, I think that stuff still holds up too.
I just like it for the simple fact that if you ever want to just get a laugh, look at one of those old visuals and stare at Tony Schiavone's face. He's got like the makeup on, the little tiny push broom mustache, and
I used to love it when Flair would just give him like $100 and tell him to go buy a new suit or buy something for him.
Oh yeah, it was classic. No, that wrestling to me, that was another one of those things where, like I said, where they had the smaller rooms and the announce setup is like not too far from the ring. Mm-hmm. You know, it just had a whole separate energy. But I used to love it. Loved it.
Do you think Tony Schiavone gets a bad rap? Because a lot of people started to hate him like on the internet.
But see, that's the thing that I say like about the whole internet thing. It's kind of funny because people would sit up there and start all those things, but traveling from week to week with these guys, I would see people breaking their necks to run up to them in the parking lot, run up to them in the hotels, and when they come out, you know, it'd be a big pop for them all the time. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, when you got I like the internet, but I hate it at the same time because all it takes is a couple of people hating to get on and make some points, and people jump on the bandwagon. this one sucks, that one sucks, and they're only saying it because the other person said it.
Right.
You know, when it comes down to it, I mean, it's not about, you know, having the super young announcers, because Jim Ross is not super young, you know, and a lot of these so-called fans or whatever, they don't even remember Tony Schiavone working at WWF.
Right.
You know, they would never know he was even there. You know, you know, they don't know. I mean, for me, you know, the show, and you really had to think about it when that whole wrestling war, the Monday night thing was going on.
Right.
Did you hear anybody complaining about the announcement?
No, that's what I always say. Is like, I don't think people complain about Tony Schiavone until they start to think, you know, the product wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's not, you know, hiring the talent. He's not booking the matches, but he was doing the exact same thing. I know for a fact, as a fan, before I got hired, I'm working at my radio station, and I'm sitting there flipping back and forth between two channels the whole time, and it was like I never had a complaint about the the whole them announcing when it was him, Larry Zbyszko, Bobby the Brain, Mike Tenay, you know, whatever, and whoever would come out and hang out with them or whatever. I mean, it was cool. It fit the show. I think that you know, a lot of times these people are so quick to be critical, but when I look at these people, when you can look and see how long that they've been doing it, and that's their whole life, you know, whether the announcers or some of the refs or whatever, you know, at that point, you know, when I met him, he's 15 years, 10 years into it or whatever, you know, how can you knock that? That's what that guy does. He's passionate about it. So I liked him. I enjoyed the performances all the time.
I always thought he was good too. I think Intra has a question for you.
Yeah, I was actually going through some old tapes the other day, and I saw Tank Abbott taking over your table. What was your opinions on that?
That was actually something else that was kind of fun for me, because I was into the all the Ultimate Fighting and mixed martial arts stuff, you know, way back too. And you know, I remember even when WWF had like Ken Shamrock and stuff like that, so I was excited they were going to bring in you know, anybody. And when they decided to do that angle where you know, he was going to come up and get on the mic and all that, I was like, hey, that's great. Anything was better than Rapper's Crap. I didn't care. That was destroying. That was just killing me.
Were you surprised that got over so big?
What'd you say?
You surprised that got over so big, the West Texas Rednecks?
Well, the funny thing about it is, you know, and another one of my favorite guys, man, Kurt Hennig, he's the class act. Because more so, not just the TV shows, but when we would do house shows, you know, he'd come up to me before the show starts and be like, okay, DJ, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I'm going to say this to you, and you say this back, and blah, 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 and whatever. And, you know, we work it out. And every time, you know, I'd see him after the thing, like, thanks, man, thank you. You know, and it was cool that I'm like, here's a guy I've been looking at, you know, all this time, and he was just so respectful, you know, it was great. But that was a sidebar. In terms of them getting over it, yeah, it was funny. The song was funny. Right. You know, he's got that kind of demeanor that can pull it off. But the most funny thing about it is, I don't even like Master P. I never liked any of that stuff. So it was like, damn, you making me act like I'm cool with some dude that I think sucks. So the whole concept of playing it, and then it's like, it got to the point where, because dude sucks so much, we would go to shows, and then I would get booed at buildings before I started working, because they're like, oh, he's with Master P, and like they didn't like Master P. I'm sitting there, I want to get on the mic and be like, no, you guys don't understand. I think he sucks too. You know, it's not like I'm riding around in my car listening to the No Limit Soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just horrible. You know, but that was somebody's idea to. To go ahead and put that into action at the time. So I was just like, man, this is crazy. But, you know, it was something I had to suffer through. I mean, actually, hey, here's a gem for you. That dude tried to get me fired.
Master P?
Oh, yes. This is a unreleased gem. When we went to do the New Orleans Superdome, and we had pretty much a very big crowd there, and that's his hometown, New Orleans. I'm doing my normal gimmick outside of what was on the air. I'm just playing music in between. Well, I guess he felt that I should have been playing the whole No Limit Soldiers catalog, and that's all I was supposed to be playing. Mm-hmm. So he came up to me, and I pretty much told him to kiss my ass. So then he sent one of his boys over, some tough guy-looking dude. I'm like, okay, now you can sit up here and keep thinking it's about DJing. In a minute, I'm punching your face. We gonna be brawling when this camera come back on. They went to Eric and whoever complaining, this dude is in my hometown. He's disrespecting me, not playing my music. I'm playing stuff to energize the crowd in between matches. I don't care about Master P. You know what I'm saying? But leave it up to him. I was supposed to play 5 of his songs in between each match when we weren't on air. But I'm like, but all your music sucks, and nobody here knows your stuff. Like, so he definitely tried to get me fired. So what ended up happening is by the 3rd break, Eric sent somebody out, and they like, look, man, P's out or whatever, so just, take a powder and, just come on, just go back to the hotel if you want to or hang out for the show. And as opposed to actually getting mad, I said, okay, cool, because when you have a job like that you get paid a nice amount of money and you're having fun, you just kind of like, all right, whatever. Right. And I took a powder, so he wanted to get his DJ on, they didn't put him on. But they just didn't have any music in between for the rest of the time. But that dude actually was attempting to get me fired for 2 days. And they was like, somebody finally sat him down. They said, look, whenever this deal is over with you, he's still going to be here, so shut up.
Yeah. What were you saying, Intro?
Actually, we have a message board question from Jobs on the message board. He wants to know where you sat when they canceled Surge.
Yo, let me explain something to you right now. That was one of 10 million product placement deals that the company does. So next thing you know, they got the little, soda cans. They like sit it next to the and they actually had a department that was responsible for product placement. Kind of like how, like I watched the show The Biggest Loser, and all of a sudden somebody be like, yes, and this extra gum right here will help you, the whole little cheap plug kind of thing. But yeah, that that's very funny that dude even remembers that, because I had never even heard the name Surge since probably the last can I saw on one of those episodes.
You have any T-shirts left?
No, pretty much everybody raided all my stash.
Oh man! So we got Santo here on the line.
What's up? This is Santo Loco from New Orleans.
What's going on, buddy?
What's up, bro? I was there at the Dome when all that went down. With the Master P thing. Let me tell you something down south. I tell you, bro, down south here, they got no respect with the East Coast rappers. I tell you that, man. Everything's got to be here, dirty South and everything, bro. And I got respect for you, man, because I got respect for the East Coast, If it wasn't for the East Coast, all this won't be going on right now.
I'm going to tell you what's funny, though. You know what he really gave me the heat for? Cash Money is from not too far from that area, too. And I played one of their records, and that's what really sent him through the roof. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, are you supposed to be telling me? Because at the time, whatever that record was real high everywhere, that Back That Ass Up or whatever, Juvenile.
Right. Yeah.
So, and that was a hit everywhere. That was even being played on, like, the pop stations. So it was to my benefit to put that record on because everybody loved it. That was another thing. That I think that's actually what sent him through the roof, because he didn't have any records as popular as that at the time. How you going to disrespect me playing this? And my thing was, like I said, I'm all about entertaining the whole crowd. I'm like, I'm not worrying about one person or even the stuff that I like. And then there was some other stuff going on behind the scenes too, which was due. I give y'all another gem. He's sitting there beefing with the staff because he wanted to sell his own merchandise in the merch booth. So he rolled up with like the Master P dolls and the shirts and stuff, and just started rolling up to the different concession stands and having his people throw stuff in there. They're like, dude, you can't do that. It was crazy. But I mean, I had a ball with the crowd, though. But that is definitely a night in my life that I will remember.
Let me ask you a question from one old ex-DJ, man, because I used to DJ back in the day during the 80s, late 80s and stuff. What's your favorite turntables you like to use? You know, the Techniques or the Geminis?
The Technique 1200 still, just because they keep the speed locked.
Right.
Pretty much. I mean, I can lock two records together in a mix and walk away and come back 10 minutes later and they would still be going.
Right. Those are the ones I used to use back in the day, when I used to DJ and stuff, man. But, all right, man, well, nice talking to you, Brian.
Before we go, Santos, since we got both you and DJ Rand here, maybe one of you guys can answer this for me, because I always wondered this. And I know you're a fan of Conan. And when he used to do his little saying, and I knew what toss a salad means, but what did peel the potato?
He was like, not the whole, let me speak on this, all I lay. You know, yeah, it was kind of funny, because when he would start going into the poo butt strawberries and the peeling potatoes and tossing salads and all that, it was, as far as I know, I think every last one of them is some type of anal reference. As far as I know. I never really have done a Google.
Huh? I never Googled it. That's true.
You know he used to rap back in Mexico, you know that. Did he ever tell you that?
Well, what's funny is he used to bring in some of his records and some of his demos that he had.
The Spanish one?
Yeah, well, he and Ray was super into the hip hop.
Right. I mean, he was like the Rico Suave back then, you know, in Mexico, because he had the long hair going on with the bandanas everywhere, all with like rainbow colors. You know? And then, of course, later on it became the thug look, but look, one quick question. How did Ray and Conan react with Master P in there? Because it was kind of strange just seeing them together. I know Conan over the West Coast thing and all that, but did they interact okay together?
Well, see, that was the thing. They actually liked rap, so anything that was edgy, that wasn't as, whatever, they was down with it. So it gave them an excuse to wear camouflage and gas masks and, whatever else they wanted to do. So, it was cool. Right. They got along well, but I don't know that they're rolling around to this day blasting off No Limits. Great day.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, Master P is dead down here in New Orleans, and I just said it. Shoot, All right, y'all. I take it easy, bro.
Thanks for calling.
All right, now.
All right, adios.
All right, now.
Since you were there, for the original ECW, what do you think about the new ECW?
Trash. I will say this much, as a wrestling fan, if you can get another 60 minutes of some guys working on TV, it's cool. And it seems like they use that to, take some of the talent that doesn't exactly get over on SmackDown or Raw or whatever, and, push them through there or whatever. But the essence of it, the closest that has come was, when they would do like the one night stand pay-per-views or whatever. That was very realistic, like very close to the whole Cena throwing his shirt into the audience and then throwing it back and throwing toilet paper and if Cena wins we riot and the chants, angle, fuck 'em up, angle, whatever. Like that's the realness. The ECW without the audience is like a bike with no wheels. Like, where are you going? And the audience, to me, whether it was in the bingo hall or up in New York or whatever, the audience was like 90% of the show to me. Because that's what, it gave it that feeling, and, the talent fed off of it, it was just, it would make, the energy in those places was so crazy, it would make people try shit that was just ridiculous. because the adrenaline was pumping or whatever. And now, you watch guys, and I mean, they can do all that, the hardcore matches or so-called extreme stuff or whatever. But when you take away that crucial element of the rabid audience, it's just never the same show.
Oh yeah, I don't know why they took it out of the the ECW. The different places where they played and actually had like ECW fans, because I actually really enjoyed the One Night Stand pay-per-views.
Oh, those are my favorites. I mean, I'm gonna say to this day, I was never really a big JBL fan. Like even when they were doing the APA and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I respect them for being in the business, for a long time and work and all that. But it just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't like him until that day when he was up there, he cuts his promo like, now this show sucks, kiss my ass, or whatever. Like, I was like, oh, I like this guy now.
Right.
Whatever was going on with him in the balcony, going back and forth with whoever, that was amusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
That was amusing.
I don't know if you ever see WWE 24/7, but like when they show the ECW shows there, and I understand they can't play a lot of music, but that really takes a lot away from the original ECW too. It's like all the entrances, they use like generic themes, and it just takes away like so much of the product.
I mean, even stuff like I never hear anybody mention the name Joel Gertner.
Yeah.
I never hear anybody mention the name. Do you understand like how much what he was adding to those shows? Like just dude just coming in and talking about well. The whole audience is eating it up, and it gets to the point where they're saying all of his lines with him. Especially like when the Dudley Boys was there, and he's describing them with the rip, cut, trim, whatever. Everybody saying all the words. And his little poems and rhymes he was doing, that shit was crazy. But it's like, I don't know why somebody wouldn't bring him to be part of the show, because that was another thing I popped for when they had the One Night Stand thing. He was up there begging Eric for a job. And he said something, he's like, I can announce, I can get coffee, that dude is hilarious. He's the funny.
Some people say like Paul E. wrote his lines. You think that's true, or?
I don't know. I just know that dude is funny. Like,
that was the best stuff.
Like, and in terms of like having that show be like it was, I mean, like at least I will say they do have Joey Styles there.
Yeah.
So, I mean that does my heart good. He deserves it. I mean, he's another one that It was funny, like, I don't know if you, like, when they did the first One Night Stand, and, like, he's sitting there looking like he's really, like, about to cry because the fans was going so crazy, and he had, done one of them shows in a long time. Like, how many realistic moments do you get to see like that? That's somebody that actually loves this shit and missed doing it, and he's like, damn, I can't believe I'm actually back on TV doing this now.
Yeah.
So,
I just wanted to bring up real quick here before I let you go. When you brought up Chuck Palumbo earlier, are you surprised he's like the only natural-born thriller that's like really pushed like today? Like of all those guys, that's a guy like WWE sees the most in.
I mean, for me, it's kind of like, I mean, I actually thought, I mean, and I'm just looking at a lot of those dudes that were like the big, strapping, tall dudes. That's it. The one I really thought that was going to blow up was going to be Sean O'Hare.
Yeah, definitely.
Because stuff that I saw him do live was ridiculous. It was like he was a cartoon character, like a giant ninja or something, stuff he was doing. And even with, like, Chuck, like, you know how with a lot of these things, it's like if you just get the wrong gimmick, it just doesn't work. And I'm like, the whole riding down on a motorcycle thing, I mean, I was pretty much done with that after The Undertaker was doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it's not going to be better than that, like if you don't have a kick-ass, Limp Bizkit theme and American Badass or whatever, like now I'm looking at a third-rate remix of that, and it's not better than that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, leave the motorcycle alone, go ahead and do something else. Because I don't know what I'm supposed to like about them.
Yeah.
And and what I did notice from watching, you know, a lot of these shows up close and personal, and you know, getting to know guys like Johnny Ace and all these, you know, people push their friends and people that they're cool with. So if you're in with the right people, you get a push. It's not necessarily what the fans like all the time. Because if that was the case, I mean, I give you a perfect example. I used to watch people just talk shit about disco all the time. They like, why are you still here? like every week. Like, why are you still here? And it was like, he's in with somebody, because not only is he here, now he's actually, you know, helping do stuff with the matches. So it's like, you never know what's really going on.
Did you ever hear about any, like, you know, supposedly some of the gimmick or some of the, like, the angles he wrote up, like he wouldn't have an invisible man, and I think he was the guy who came up with, like, an idea that Nitro would be like taken over by aliens.
I never heard of that one.
Uh-huh.
I never actually,
I think it's kind of like the Invasion of the Body Snatchers thing. I think, like, Tanay or somebody was going to be, like, one of the aliens. I'm not sure if this is all true or not, but I've read it. I've read it on the internet, so I believe it.
I will say this, when you mention the name Tanay, the funniest thing that I think about is whatever that angle they were doing with David Flair was supposed to be going crazy. And I think and Tanay went to his house to interview him or something, and then dude snapped and ran out and speared the mailman on the lawn or some shit. And it was, see, what you have to understand is a lot of this stuff, when you watch it at home or on a pay-per-view on TV, you get it one way. If you're actually in the arena and they're showing that on the big screen, it's like a comedy show if it's funny enough.
Right.
Because the funniest two things I've ever seen was people laughing at that, and then the other one where, remember when dude was doing that character, Demon, Dale Torresbro?
Yeah, the Kiss Demon.
Yeah, and I think it was Asia. Was that who was with? Yeah, but she ended up falling into a grave that somebody had dug or something. Right. And you hear her voice, she's like, ham. People were just dying laughing, man. It was like, what the hell is going on here?
Did you ever
she
read?
Was cool.
Yeah. Did you ever read the Death of WCW book?
I read some of it, and I got to the point where it's like a lot of that stuff is so biased and subjective. You know, there's a lot of factors that went into that. I mean, you know, I would hear a lot of people talking about Eric this and this and that and other thing. I'm gonna tell you firsthand, a lot of those guys, when they came from WWF, and this is obviously before I got there, they paid them a lot of money to come there. And the difference between, you know, the program that Vince was running and what they were doing is it was, you know, a company that was being funded by somebody else's money. You had people coming in there getting spoiled. And when you get to the point that your stars will tell you what they will and what they won't do 2 minutes before it's supposed to happen, it's kind of hard to do anything. You got cats leaving and just going back to the hotel. I'm not doing it. Leave. Mm-hmm. You know. So if you got that kind of shit going on, it's really hard to. I don't care who's supposed to be running the show, because it was pretty much like I said. A lot of these guys, you know, there's a lot of money being spent every week, blowing up limos, blowing up Hummers, you know, dropping pianos out. I mean, the one time I'm working in the MGM Grand, and for me it was great because I got to meet Kiss. But it's like I got to see somebody actually get paid $1 million to do a 30-second lip sync at the MGM Grand in Vegas. Like, you got money flying around like that. Mm. So, yeah, eventually you do run out of business. You know, it's kind of hard to. and even besides that, there was also many times where, you know, it's pretty costly to fly, you know, talent in and house everybody, whatever. They had matches and fly in all these guys, and half of them wouldn't even be working.
Right.
They just would come in and be sitting around like, am I on the board today? No. Oh, okay.
And there goes. Yeah, I think there's some guys under contract that never even were ever on TV. I know, like Lanny Hoffman. There's probably other guys.
Yeah, there are guys that I would see, and sometimes they get as far as, you know, the old security thing where they wearing the security shirts and go out and break up a fight or something. But Other than that, no. I'm gonna ask you guys, what do you remember most about that company?
I was actually a bigger WCW fan than WWF at the time. I liked, even up till the end, there was stuff like that I enjoyed. I know it wasn't quite the same, but like the 3 count versus Young Dragons, that was still good. But probably like the biggest thing, definitely when the first like year or two of the NWO, I think that stuff was just great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Probably one of my favorite moments was the night Goldberg beat Hulk Hogan, because I wasn't a wrestling fan at the time. I kind of got out of it, and that brought me back into it. So that was definitely one of my favorite moments.
I thought really actually the whole show at one point was so good because you had the top guys who were doing like the big NWO story. Then you had like the luchadors who you really didn't see a lot of at the time, and then you had like just like awesome matches with like Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho and Dean Malenko and those guys, and then you'd have some hardcore matches and tag team stuff, and just kind of like all together, just like a really great show to watch from beginning to end.
I would like for you guys to reach out to your massive audience and somebody do me a favor. I had a tape that an ex of mine destroyed years ago, and it used to bring me great joy. On that tape, it was a clip. It was actually a Nitro, but Kevin Nash, for some reason, decided to throw Rey Mysterio head first into the side of a trailer like a lawn dart.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it since, but I just remembered that I used to just watch it all the time because I think it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Because it's not just the fact that he threw him, but it's the sound that was made when his head hit the trailer. It was like some cartoon type shit.
That's definitely a highlight, yeah. He throws him like
does somebody have that on video? That's all I need to know.
Intro's got a pretty good collection. He might have it.
Yeah, I know it's actually on the that Monday Night Wars DVD that they released, but I'm not sure if it has original audio on it. I'm not sure if it's like just within the documentary part or what. Mm-hmm. But I know it's on there.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody listening to us has it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's one of them things where you go on YouTube and all the other things, and I can find everything else except for that, and I know I had it on tape, but gone.
Well, I know you mentioned Kurt Hennig. We always like to ask people here, like, if they had any good rib stories. So if you were friends with Kurt Hennig, you must have a good rib story.
Yeah, he would have one of those times in catering, and there was a bunch of people that did it afterwards, though. I'm pretty sure he was the first one that did it. They used to sometimes, besides the regular chicken breast and green beans and all that kind of stuff that would be down there so everybody can get their protein and vegetables, they'd have the little sweets or whatever, brownies or whatever. He hooked up with somebody, and they swapped out the brownies. They were still brownies, but they were all full of X-Lax. So pretty much, he sat down there. They like, DJ, whatever you do, don't eat any of the brownies. Don't eat the brownies. Don't eat the brownies, brother. Don't eat the brownies. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, thank me later. So certain people were sitting there just munching on snacks. So whoever he was cool with, he'd tell them ahead of time, don't eat it. And the people that, he wanted to let them have it, they sat up there, was jacking the brownies up. And for the rest of the night, it was like shit fest. You had cats that were supposed to be getting ready to go out for matches. They're like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. Hilarious. I wouldn't have believed that it worked, but he sure, I don't know if he got with the lady that was baking them, or if I don't know how they did it, but they removed whole trays and came back with the X-Lax version of the same thing. So, yeah.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on tonight. We had a lot of fun with you.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Anything you want to tell everybody out there before I let you go?
No, pretty much, like I said, thanks for having me on the show, and I'll come back and do it another time.
Oh, that'd be great.
And, I'll definitely be checking out the Magnum TA and Nikita Koloff.
Excellent. That'll be next week at 8 p.m. Eastern on InYourHeadOnline.com.
All right.